Today I'd like to share with you a restorative yoga practice which can be really wonderfully nourishing and calming and supportive. Restorative yoga is a type of yoga that's mostly based around staying in one shape for quite a long time and making sure you're really well supported in that shape so that you can soften and relax and find a real sense of ease and comfort. This can help you to move into that part of your nervous system that tells you that everything's okay, that you are well supported and secure. And that's really, really important, especially if you are somebody that has quite a high stress life or you're very, very busy. Then spending time in an intentionally restful, well supported position can be a wonderful addition to your self-care practices. So this particular practice requires quite a few props, so I've set up a whole lot of things here, so you might like to gather these up for yourself. So perhaps a chair, doesn't really matter what kind of chair, but perhaps a chair. You might like to use 2, 3, 4 blankets. If you've got a bolster at home, then you might like to grab your bolster. I've actually created my own sort of homemade bolster here, so I used 3 towels, and you could use more. Obviously, the more you use, the thicker your bolster will be. I folded them in half, stacked them one on top of the other, rolled them up and secured them with some rubber bands. You could use string as well. So really using whatever feels the most helpful for you. And then you might also like to have perhaps a light shawl to cover your eyes or to cover yourself. If you're in a cold climate right now, then maybe an extra blanket for on top of your body as well. So this is actually quite a simple setup. So the first suggestion would be to make sure that your chair is going to be fairly comfortable for your legs to rest on. So mine has quite a sharp edge, so I'm going to take a thick blanket and I'm going to place it on here, making sure that I've got quite a good overhang so that when I put my legs up on there, it's nice and soft. And then you can choose whether or not you might just have your legs up on here and maybe your pelvis is on the floor and you're just lying flat. But an alternative option is that you can place your bolster or your homemade bolster or some more blankets or some pillows here so that your pelvis rests on here and you have a sort of a waterfall kind of shape happening in your body there. I'll show you that variation and then I'll show you another variation as well. So this is really nice and easy. It might help just to have a little bit of a gap between the legs of your chair and your bolster so that you're not too close. And the trickiest part is getting into this shape. So if you come to sit up on your bolster, just leaning back, making sure you've got the whole of the back of your pelvis supported by your bolster, and then you can lie back down again. Wriggling your bolster around, checking that your feet feel nice and comfortable. You might like to take your scarf and place it over your eyes. If it feels as though you need some support behind the back of your head, I really recommend just having a little bit, just as much as you need, so maybe a thinly folded blanket or a cushion that's not too thick. And you can stay here for as long as you choose. So maybe you stay here for 5 minutes, maybe you stay here for a whole hour. It's really up to you. You might like to put on some gentle music and perhaps let yourself really enjoy a super nourishing time of rest. So another variation that you could use using the same sort of shape or principle is a slightly different variation. So this one, maybe instead of using the bolster behind your buttocks, you could maybe use either a rolled blanket or a rolled up towel. And perhaps you might come to sit at the base of your chair, bringing your legs up on your chair. And then when you lie down, the rolled up towel or the rolled up blanket that you've got behind your spine runs along the length of your spine. You can have your bottom on the floor, runs along the length of your spine and creates a bit of an opening through your chest. So this might feel quite nice for people who tend to spend a lot of time with their back sort of rounded forward. Maybe if you have a desk job or you bend over a lot in your daily job, and you might find this really nourishing and helpful. So in this situation, for me, the chair is actually a little bit high, so I would probably place a little bit more support under my feet. So maybe I would place my bolster up on top of the chair here so that I can rest my feet on it. Oh, that's much better. So the idea with your restorative yoga practices is that you want to create enough support so that your body isn't having to grip or tighten or make a lot of effort to be there. You also don't want to place yourself in a deep stretch, maybe a very gentle one. Here I'm very gently feeling a little bit of stretch through my chest, but it doesn't feel strong, so that all of the parts of your nervous system that might switch on and sort of move into a phase of alertness around, oh, you're stretching, or you need to protect yourself in some way, that can all switch off and you can really soften. And when you are here in this shape or the other shape or some other variation that you might have created for yourself, you might like to imagine as though you're breathing out and growing heavier. With each breath out, gradually welcoming all of the parts of you to rest and relax and soften. So elevating our legs, taking an inversion can be a really helpful practice for decreasing congestion that might happen in the lower part of your body. So swelling of your ankles or that sense of heaviness that you can sometimes get in your legs. And having our legs elevated also can be a really balancing practice. So if you're finding yourself feeling really overstimulated and kind of tired and wired, then this might help you to feel a little bit more balanced and rested but still alert. And if you're feeling really sluggish and lethargic, then this can just help to lift your energy a little bit as well. So it's a really wonderful balancing practice. When you come out of the shape, you might like to roll to your side and just use your hands to come up in a really easy way. So I hope that you found that little bite-sized yoga practice helpful, and I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you find it restful, that it nourishes you and supports you right now. Namaste.